You know, some of you guys might find yourself going through some hard times, you know, some difficult situation, and you might be asking yourself, why me? Or, you know, how come some people, it seems like some people go through less difficulties than others? The reality is, God give his hardest battles to his strongest soldiers. You might have heard that saying, God gives his hardest battles to his strongest soldiers. You know, and it goes back to the story of Job. See, God chose Job, and when the enemy was seeking and roaming and needing someone to devour it, basically, you know, God was like, God suggested Job. You are like a Job, and God suggests you to the enemy, and you're like, God, why would you do such a horrible thing? God knows at the end of the day, at the end of the finish line, you were going to cross it. Because you serve a God who knows the future. He knows you're going to cross the end. You're going to get to the end. You may not have known. I've spoken about this message like 2 years ago. Okay, you may not have known that you would make it to the end, but God knew. Okay, and the enemy didn't know. See, and that's the thing. The enemy allowed God to choose who the enemy was going to test. Okay, that was the enemy's first mistake. Okay, so God gives his hardest battles to his strongest soldiers. And so I know it's easier said than done, but instead of being like, Lord, why me? It's an honor, because God knew you were going to make it. It's an honor because God knew that you're going to cross the finish line and his glory will shine upon you. Okay, and his name will be glorified because you made it. People need to see you cross the finish line. People need to see people of God cross the finish line so they can be like, okay, God is truly with these people. With the stuff that they've been going through, God must be with them. There's no way. There's no other explanation, because other people would not make it. Like, other people wouldn't make it. You know what I mean? They would not be with us today, type of thing. They wouldn't make it. So God has to give his hardest battles to his strongest soldiers. And unfortunately, fortunately, it is you. It is you. So see it as an honor. If God didn't think you would make it, he wouldn't have given it to you. Think about it that way. If God didn't think you would make it, he wouldn't have given it to you. So if you're going through a hard time, it's because God knows you will make it. With his strength, of course. Don't do it alone. You can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. With his strength, you're going to make it. Alright, guys? Remember that. Think of it that way.